Okay. Okay, there is a subject I want to address today, and that is drying wheat. We're going to look at a few different types of dryers, and that is, we're going to look at the top dry first. The top dry, if you're going to dry wheat, you're going to want to start with a 140 degree plenum temperature and 110 degree grain. If you are running a terminal control or controls in your top dry that has the ability to switch automatically from high low to on off, you're gonna want to run the burner on on off. That way your plenum holds temperature. With it being so warm outside, it works best with on off to hold your plenum temperature. Grain temp, I would start at 110. That's a starting point. You're gonna have to adjust that based on what your outgoing grain results at. One thing to remember is if you're drying wheat for seed, don't run your plenum temp over 110 if you're going to use it for seed. And then your grain temp would have to drop down accordingly also. The next dryer we're going to look at is a portable dryer. If you have a single plenum portable dryer, I'm going to say run that 140 plenum temp. That's going to be kind of my go-to number there. Unless you get into like 25% wheat. Had a fella contact me yesterday with 26%. So if you're getting into real wet wheat like that, you can push this number up to 150. Now, with tower dryers, same way. If you're running a tower, you're going to want to, again, run that plenum temp starting at 140 degrees. Not much over. Rule of thumb, on a tower, your burner height is right here. Your plenum temp sensor is just rated your burner. If you're running a 140 in here, you're going to have close to a 165 up here at the top, or 160 anyhow up here at the top. So that's why with the tower, I'm going to stick with 140 pretty much no matter what it is. You go much hotter than that, you want to be real careful with your grain exchangers. You're going to want to check that every day to verify your columns are all flowing right, possibly twice a day, because chaff at the grain exchangers lights very easy. We're going to look at the mixed flow and multi-plenum dryers. So mixed flow and stacked dryers. If you have two plenums above each other, you're going to run, I would start with a 160 upper and a 140 lower. If you have three plenums, I'm going to say 160, 150, and 140. If you have, you can, out of three plenum, you can run that at 170. If you're running a 25% wheat, I wouldn't be afraid to put this top plenum to 170. But that's going to be close to your max. 180 would be very max. You want to be running some wet wheat to get up to 180. I have run 180 on a top plenum on wheat, but that's hot. That's hot. 160 is a beautiful number. 160 to 140 is kind of my go-to, unless you get in a rush and you got something real wet. 140 to 160 is go-to plenum temperature on wheat. And your grain temp is going to be in that, depending on the dryer style, but somewhere between 90 and 115. If you're running on a column temp, on a mixed flow, or a tower, or a top dry, it's gonna be about. So if you normally run 180 corn, and you're running a 140 for wheat, you're gonna run your grain temp about 10 degrees cooler for your wheat than you did for corn. So if your grain temp for corn was 120, you're going to run about a 110 or your wheat. So about 10 degrees lower on that 40-degree swing. That's a ballpark. Stirring bin, drying wheat, 120 degrees on a stirring bin. Nope. 120 degrees. Plant them on stirring bin. Wheat dries just as hard as corn, so that the moisture comes out a little slightly easier, but the air goes through a lot harder.